Mira Business FM.
This is Mira Business FM. It's the morning drive with me, Tim Elliott. We're on the website, mirabusiness.fm. We're on YouTube, we're on Twitch, we're on Rumble, we're on Dailymotion, we're on Facebook, we're on LinkedIn, we're on Instagram, we're on X for news. Get in touch. info@mira.fm is our email address. And you can also WhatsApp directly to the studio. Keep it nice and clean. WhatsApp.mira.fm. 522-789-567. And wherever you find us, if you can subscribe, give us a like, a thumbs up. That is always really appreciated. Now, real estate in the last hour. For the next half an hour or so, we're going to be talking food, the business of food, I guess, and the business of food delivery, really. Halima Jumani is the CEO, founding family member of Kibsons online home delivery, well known here for sustainable grocery shopping. They're a UAE-based fresh food distributor, have been for over a decade. And Halima oversees finance operations and a 1,000-strong team managing 5,000 daily orders. And she is joining us over the technology of Zoom. Halima, good to talk to you. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you very much for having me. Can you hear me?
I can hear you great. I can see you fine. Looking resplendent, I have to say. I want to start, Halima, with we've never met before, but I'd like to start with your story, your background. You were born and raised here in Dubai, in the Emirates. I know that much, but you kind of come from a corporate finance background, don't you, really?
I do. I was with KPMG for, I think, over 5 years. So finance has been my background. And subsequently, after my MBA, I moved with GE in operational excellence as a Six Sigma black belt in the Middle East and North Africa region, which is where I learned to combine finance and ops. And what a great combination it was.
Well, it's worked very well for you, I gather. You got married in, dare I say it, 1999, 26, nearly 27 happy years. So you became a part of the Kibsons family. Your husband was obviously part of that business, providing fresh food since I think the early 80s, 1980? Am I right in saying that? At that time, you were part of KPMG. So essentially, you were kind of almost freelancing in the business, really, weren't you? Lending a helping hand, but you weren't really officially part of anything.
That's what you do for a family, isn't it? I mean, if you've got the skills and your family does not have, money in the early years to hire those skills, what do? You go and you help. You set up the foundation, the business infrastructure, so that there are those deep roots, allowing you to grow.
Do you know what's interesting about me? I was reading some research. Interesting about me? No, interesting about you. I was reading some research, and you took a major step in 2005. You weren't long married. You up sticks. You moved to the UK, and you spent 2 years there pursuing an MBA. The reason I bring this in is because I'm kind of pursuing this picture of somebody. I think the nicest way to put it is you're driven, aren't you? There is an aim to what you're doing. Am I right?
Yes, and the way I would look at that is I'm very empathy driven, even for myself, because you can't lie about your skills to yourself, right? So, coming from a finance background, particularly audit, where we are trained to look at things in details, absolute details, it so happened that when I would speak to Jamal, and he's very strategic, macroeconomic, and so on, I would understand what he would say, but I would be like, damn, why can't I create that or generate that internally on my own? And I think what I eventually realized is that I needed some sort of shift in the way my mind thinks, generates the processes, the information, and the analysis that I was good at. And MBAs around the world in those days were for 1 year. I don't think 1 year is sufficient time. It's more like a 10-month crash course. It doesn't really completely change you. So what I really was looking for is not an MBA to do networking or not an MBA to get a jump in a job. My focus was to drive growth, personal growth. And honestly, 2 years changed the way I thought. I can't really pinpoint anything, but the savviness. And when I returned from the MBA from this journey, Honestly speaking, the way I looked at information, processed information was different. And may I also add that it was only then that Kibsons moved into a daring, disruptive opening of the e commerce home delivery in 2016.
Okay, well, let's go to Kibsons. You launched nearly a decade ago. In the early days, your husband, Jamal, who you've mentioned, focused really on the commercial side. You took the reins on finance and operations. The MBA has helped you for, I guess, that strategic picture, that maybe slightly broader picture. We're both doing that broad and hand signal thing at the moment. But I guess the fortunate thing here is you found that in business, not just your marriage or personal relationship, but you complemented each other, and it's fortunate, isn't it, that your working relations worked out so well. The yin and the yang, I guess, is another way of putting it.
Yes, it is. Not many people know, but Jamal and I were actually arranged to marry. So perhaps our parents had some foresight and, destiny has its own plans. But it was beautiful that we were fiercely independent, even as human beings, even at home. And we were together as, two fulfilled, complete individuals. And we were not stepping into each other's way at home or in business. So, we had a working relationship. Even as parents, we were aligned. This was challenged later in the e-commerce years, but we'll come to that later. But yeah, Jamal has been instrumental in my journey with the support that he has provided. A female cannot come this far in a business environment that is so male dominated without having a male sponsor behind her, a strong one.
Right. Okay. Well, even these days, do you think is it still, what's the word, patriarchal?
It is,
Yeah.
but it's changing. There's a balance in life that is healthy for everyone involved.
Okay, so Kibsons, the thinking behind it was healthy eating into people's homes, healthy eating becoming more accessible and more affordable. When you launched, how did you get that across to people? The fact that was so important, because it seems to me like now that's the way we all are. That's a generational way of thinking, but it maybe wasn't 10 years ago.
It was, but within a niche. I will explain. So,
Mm,
Jamal and I have three kids that represent Australia at a national level for squash. So, nutrition, recovery, good eating,
okay.
resting. Well, these were a common vocabulary at home. But the thing was, we were privileged to be able to have that good quality food at affordable prices. Right now, our circle of family and friends was similar, where we had. Heavy eating teenagers, and when we created the Excel spreadsheet in early years to spread it out to family and friends, oh my God, it was so well received because of the quality, the freshness, the prices. People were absolutely wowed. And I didn't have to do any marketing. It grew with the word of mouth alone. For the first 3 years, until the point that we had 2,000 deliveries a day, we had not done any marketing at all.
Zero.
Zero. I mean, then I kind of, was told by our good friends in the industry that imagine what you could do with marketing. So then we kind of, played around. We did for learning experience, what works, what doesn't work. So did a little bit of everything, like cinema advertisement. We did a couple of billboards. We did PR. It was a wonderful journey learning through that.
So, I mean, you knew you had a business that was working. If you do almost nothing in terms of the traditional forms of letting people know, and you get 2,000 orders a day. However, then we get to 2020, I suppose, and COVID hits. What happened then?
A lot of people think that, oh, you must have done so well in COVID. We nearly died in COVID, because our capacity was pushed
Mm.
from, 4 people in customer care responding to, 100,000 citizens in the UAE who were all looking forward to a scheduled delivery of Kibsons. Our schedules went up to 7 days. It was a push. Our capacity had to grow, respond and grow within, I think it was 6 weeks. We hired about 400 people in 4 weeks. So it was tough. It was tough, and I'm so, I think, honored and grateful for that positioning that destiny put us in, because at Kibson this was not about money. This was about serving the community in which Jamal and I were born and raised. This was our time of giving back. I remember putting our pickers and drivers and saying, if you guys ever wanted to become someone, important like doctors or engineers, and you couldn't do because of lack of money, and that's why you're here, this is our time. We are second in line to healthcare, and it is our duty to serve the people in this beautiful community that we belong to.
It's a nice thing to hear, but I mean, money is obviously an important thing. COVID meant that inbound logistics were expensive, so prices went up, of course. So you're working 24/7, but at the same time as that, you have to take that hit, don't you? Is that what happened?
It is, and I was very fortunate to have Jamal's backing on that. He made it a point and gave me a clear mandate. Halima, do not raise any prices. Take the hit, take the knock. It doesn't matter. We are a very value driven family business, and perhaps that's why we do what we feel right. And often we make very strong non monetary decisions. This was one of them. Jamal said to me, people are already panicking with the foresight of whether there will be enough food or not. If you raise prices, this will increase the panic and they will think, oh, things are now going to run out or, whatever. So, what we try to do is keep people calm through our customer care communication and say, don't worry about the food. I remember telling some of my friends, if anything happens, you're welcome. We can all sit inside the Kibsons warehouse and feed ourselves. Don't worry about anything. The prices are going to remain the same. And we will deliver. Don't worry about it. And we lived that. We lived up to the promise and we took that knock, and that's okay. Businesses, good businesses are never about money alone.
Okay. Let me ask you about your team, because it strikes me that, I mean, getting 400 people on board in 4 weeks is an impressive achievement in and of itself. But you have to build a team, and you need to build a team to work in a business that you run the way you run it with, I think your word was empathy at the start of this interview. And that's a team that has to be with you, that has to believe in what you're doing, particularly at a time like COVID-19, of course. Talk me through how you've built your team, how you did it then, and how you increase your staff that stay with you now.
So if you speak to people within the team, particularly blue collars, what we are famous for is training people. People come to us and say, please train us. We want to grow at Kibsons. That's really how we are perceived within our working community. So I'll just go back a little bit. When we pivoted from distribution business to supermarkets into e-commerce, one thing that happened was that a bunch of merchandisers who were Bengalis and Nepalis could not really find, especially Bangladeshis, another job. Why? Because there were visa issues with UAE and Bangladesh at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And these were people who worked in those supermarket branches, restocking the shelves, but working on the payroll of suppliers like us. So when we broke away from those contracts, I had this force of 45 to 50 people that were unemployed. And my intention was to, of course, help the community with good quality produce, affordable prices, so they can feed their family, and healthy eating becomes practical, convenient, but also affordable, because it's a good notion, but if it's not affordable, it's not going to really blend into your day-to-day lifestyle. So my goal was to kind of hit these two agendas: healthy eating, but also giving my employees a job. And two of them, the original from the original team, today look after my entire operations of the day and of the night. So, in what I'm trying to tell you is the story was of my founding team that grew and became grateful over the years. And that's a currency that keeps our team energy just strong, just authentic. And yeah, we're very grateful from where we've come so far.
I wanted to ask you about your leadership style, because I've read that you say, I need to like me, others don't need to like me. So that's one kind of part of a personality. However, I've also read that you've built the business through listening, acting, and caring deeply for people, as you've kind of outlined there, for food and for community. So I'm wondering how you would describe yourself. Are you a disciplinarian, or are you kind of a mother figure, a multiplicator, as some people term it? Which are you? Or are you both?
Yeah, I think a bit of both. So thankfully, my kids are now all grown up, but in those years, they were teenagers, and I was a mom throughout. So I don't I don't know where I crossed the line being a mom at home and a mom at office. And it's exactly all of those skills. You try and educate people, you try and train them, you try and make them understand what are you doing, why are you doing, and so on. And then if nothing works, you put up your mom card and say, no, sorry, this has to be my way because I can't over explain beyond a point. And I think it's also interesting that as a CEO now, my level of experience and understanding is clearly different to others, right? So my whole momentum is to bridge the gap, to get people to understand what the company is doing, what's the strategy, vision, why we are here. But at the end of the day, someone's got to make that tough and bold decision. So I've got to play both cards. But my focus is about mentoring, training, educating, because if you do not get that participative buy in
Mm.
of your team, it's never going to work. They're never going to. They're never going to come with that wholehearted that, yeah, I'm with you, I got this. And it takes time. It's painful. It takes time. Sometimes you win, sometimes they don't understand. But you know what? In the long run, actions always speak louder than words. And I think what I've come to realize with my journey is that your actions, your success, your results earn you respect over time. And this is not something you do once. This is something you do again and again and again, because you're going to get tested over and over. And people are going to sit there and watch. Now what's she going to do this time? Now what are you going to do this time?
Don't you just love those people? It's interesting that, and it really is. It kind of strikes me that in lots of ways, and this is really oversimplifying being a CEO, but it is kind of like motherhood in a way. You have to nurture, you have to train, you have to encourage, you have to educate, but you also have to be cognizant of the fact that there is a point at which the foot goes down and you don't push any harder. You are my
Yes.
daughter, you are my son, you are my employee. There's an overlap there in a way, isn't there?
Yes, there is. And people who disagree with me in the moment, I promise you, after a period of time, they've always come back and said to me, I have had so many messages that, ma'am, you were right. We see it now.
Mm.
That's like, I mean, I've been here 25 years over and over again. Um, but I think what I'm saying is that as an entrepreneur, as a leader, you've got to believe. You've got to believe in yourself, your core value proposition. What are you as a person? What skills you bring to the table? What you can offer? What you can convert? Because people don't care about your skills as much as they understand and care about what results you put on the table. So, and that's not a 1 year scenario. It's again and again and again. You've got to say it this way, prove yourself over and over again. And it's understanding the core value proposition of the business, the industry in which you're in. So there are layers and circles of empathy if you can draw them like an onion. If you do not understand all of them and how they all fit together, you cannot come up with a strategy. So that strategy, with conviction and confidence, comes with, I would say, also scalable value propositions.
Okay. Let me ask you about something that happened late last year. You announced you were going to shift away from your cardboard delivery boxes, which were highly recognizable, Halima. So now you've got this more sustainable solution. You've got the reusable Kibsons box. How has that affected or influenced the way people see your business? Has it made a difference?
Oh, this is such a good topic. It was a incredibly bold move. I was a little bit scared, I have to be honest, because the boxes had become the brand, and it is so difficult to build a brand, and that, these boxes were what we were known for. So how do you pull away from them in the name of sustainability, in the name of a move that people did not even ask me for? So I'll explain this. Everybody thought that just because we are recycling the boxes, we are doing a tick on sustainability, right? It's a good thing. You're recycling. So the conscience is satisfied.
Yeah.
However, I knew in my heart that we are recycling fine, but we are first cutting down those trees to begin with. So I'm thinking everybody out there, so many corporates are now thinking about the carbon footprint and how many trees they can plant. So let's say we do a carbon offset and plant trees, we are still looking at 15 years for those trees to grow, which is a very long time. How about we stop cutting them to begin with? This was my personal math looking at the scope 1, scope 2, scope 3 calculations as I was taking Kibsons on the ESG journey. And I said to myself, this doesn't make any sense. We need to have a truly reusable option which is beneficial for the planet. And it saved us 2,500 trees every month that we would have otherwise cut down to make those boxes. So it was such a difficult and bold move. Do I do authentic ESG, or do I stick to the marketing and the branding that we had come to achieve over the years? And I remember discussing this with my PR, and she said, "No, Halima, you've always made bold moves. Go ahead. This is one of them." So initially, there was a bit of a lashback, and people were not happy. They missed the boxes, which was expected. But obviously, everything in life has to evolve with education. So we did our best. We tried our best. We responded to the consumers, and I am hoping that they have accepted and forgiven us, because this planet is definitely worth saving. And not only that, but I don't think ESG is a fancy topic anymore. It's a non-negotiable card. I mean, we really need to do something about the situation because it is out of hands. More importantly, that was like phase one, step one. So what we're now doing, next month we'll be launching our compostable bags, because you see, we moved away from the boxes, but we still had paper bags. So if we remove these paper bags and have compostable bags, we will be saving a further 800 trees every month. And this story has now been printed on each of the bags so that people get to read them. And if they have any questions, they can come back to us.
Well, you see, the thing is, people do read the boxes, don't they? Because this is such a recognisable part of your brand. It's the overriding thing. I immediately think of the blue box. It's what I think of when I see kids. I don't necessarily think of food delivery even. I've seen the boxes a million times. Highly, highly effective branding.
Yes, and people used to think, "Do you move homes? Are you a relocation company?" I was like, no, those boxes have food in them. And we do supply. We still get requests. Please, can I have 50 boxes? I'm moving, or please, can we have 50 boxes for so and so? And we actually produce some to satisfy that need from our customers every now and then.
Do you know, I live in a community, and there's a community WhatsApp group, and every, I don't know, once a month probably, people ask for Kibson boxes because they need cardboard boxes.
Yes, but I'd like to believe that the brand goes a little bit deeper than the box into the freshness and the quality that people have come to expect from Kibsons.
I would think that's probably the byproduct as well, to be fair. How important is price point? Because there's something I read online. Let me just bring this up very quickly. Blueberries, I have to put this to you as well. Blueberries seem to be a real thing for you. You've said they're your popcorn, which I thought was quite a nice phrase, but I've read this a few times. A packet of blueberries in a supermarket was 23 dirhams, and I remember this quite clearly. You guys brought it down to 9 dirhams. So 2 questions, really. Why was the price so high? And second, how can you bring it down to 9 dirhams from 20 odd?
It's the business models that are different, right? Supermarkets have a very different business model. They have on-ground exposure. They have to stock up and display so many spaces physically, and that in turn affects the wastages. So given the fact that wastages are high, they have to compensate for that with these higher margins. In the wholesale situation, we have a consolidated point of dispatch. So we don't have to worry about multiple displays, and we don't have to worry about wastages. Why? Because our shelf life is stronger because of the cold chain that we have. So I'll give you an example. As soon as we receive our imports, they are received into purpose-built e-commerce facility, which is cold chain intact, right? So we've got these balloon shelters, we've got dock levelers. We come in, we make sure that the temperature does not fluctuate. And then from that environment, they go straight into our delivery vans to your door. So if you think about the entire journey, it's a very different journey, number one. So you kind of get the wholesale shelf life of the product. You also get the wholesale prices. Now, if we flip that around and think about a supermarket business model, what actually happens is that we would say deliver to them in our trucks from the market, but then it would go into their centralized stores. Now, this offloading, onloading, if done in a not so perfect temperature condition, will definitely affect the longevity of that product. You can't see it, right? You can't immediately see what's happening, but the cold chain has been broken. Now it would move from that facility into a decentralized store from there, it will go onto the display. I don't know how many times you walk into the supermarket and notice that the temperature is comfortable for humans, but not berries. Therefore, they're not in an ideal temperature. You would put that in your shopping trolley, put it in your car. Again, your car is not temperature controlled. So by the time these berries and fruits make it to the fridge, they've been compromised on their shelf life.
Sure.
And I met someone yesterday who said, look, I buy the berries, but they die in 2 days. We get customer complaints saying, hey, I bought this lettuce on last Sunday and it's Saturday now, and it still hasn't expired. So what exactly have you sprayed on it? And then we have to educate them. We haven't sprayed anything. It's just that you are getting the wholesale quality and the wholesale price.
You should maybe talk to a former UK Prime Minister about the lettuce thing. I'm thinking that. So probably a very different story. Just one more question for you. Actually, there's a text in here as well, by the way. Let me read you this quickly. Thanks for everything you do, Halima, says Anita. I love Kibsons. It's a legendary brand. Keeps my family going, says Sharon. Kibsons blueberry smoothie, and you get a nice thumb and forefinger ring emoji.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, because it is because of you that I am here on the show. Otherwise, I wouldn't be.
That's a nice thing to hear. Final question for you. We've got to go to the news in a second, but when's the IPO? Is it imminent?
I have a lot of work to do before that. Governance, plan, and definitely how we're going to use that money. I think that's the most important part.
Right.
So it's a process and a journey, and it's about time.
Halima Jumani is the CEO, founding family member of Kibsons, the online home delivery, joining us here at Mira Business FM. Halima, great to talk to you. I really appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you so very much for having me.
It's great to have you on. This is Mira Business FM. It's the Morning Drive.
Mira Business FM.